Camos and customization are a big focal point of Call of Duty every year, but especially this year, going back to the era of World War II, what's that mean for what we can expect in terms of unlockable and grindable camos, say with weapon challenges, but also things that we'll see later on down the line in probably the shop and other locations like that. What can we expect? Well, we actually have a number of reference points already that at least for the immediate future, we can kind of decipher that. Today I want to run down those, talk a little bit about a free blueprint you can actually get for basically nothing, let you know about a free blueprint that you can end up getting here for launch of Vanguard, and where camos and customization may be going near launch and later out into the main year of support. So as we go along, let me know your thoughts down below. How do you guys think camos and customization will go? Or rather, how do you want them to go? Do you want to be a little bit more realistic with the camos? Do you want to see them a little bit more out there? Maybe completely out there? Whatever the case may be, feel free to let me know your thoughts down below. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like down below. Let's aim for 1,000 likes on this video. And of course, if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button with nearly 60% of viewers not subscribed. If you want to stay up to date with all things Vanguard, Warzone, and anything COD related, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. And finally, I'll gonna be dropping a few beta codes here within this video if you need access to it. PlayStation is open, but if you're on Xbox One and PC, keep your eyes peeled if you need access. These codes can go for any platform in any region. But that said, let's jump right into it. So let's firstly talk about that free blueprint. Similar to last year and the year before with Modern Warfare's beta, Call of Duty, Sledgehammer, whoever you want to say, announced it, put out that for beta participation, you can earn a free blueprint. Whether on PlayStation 4 or 5, Xbox One, Series S or X, or PC, doesn't matter. It's not exclusive to one console or one platform. The only parameters for this blueprint is simply just participating in the beta. For this, Sledgehammer and Call of Duty are giving away the Rat-a-tat blueprint for the STG-44, a gun that is right now on crash course to be the game's best, or at the very least, easiest to use rifle, so like the XM4 in Krieg War and Cold War, the M4A1 was in Modern Warfare, and so on. So it's a weapon that you'll likely get some use out of early on especially, so you'll have a nice little blueprint and cosmetic available for it right at launch. To earn this, all you have to do is download and play the beta at any point during this past weekend, or this one coming up starting tomorrow, and reach level 20, and once you do that, you're golden. You're good to go. That blueprint will be credited to your account at the game's launch in November. It's honestly just that simple. Now, truth be told, while we have an image associated with that blueprint that we can see a basic understanding of the camo and what we can see in game, we don't know anything in particular about it. My mind immediately gravitating towards the attachments that will be on it, and even bigger still, what that means then for Warzone. We'll touch on this in a little bit here with it, but based off the image, it looks like we could have a muzzle, an optic, a grip, a stock, and a magazine adjusted here, though I can't make out if there's any barrel, grip, or any perks or additional modifications like ammo type. The reason that's of interest to me, of course, is that this may dictate what happens with Warzone's experience and the creator class loadouts we'll see upon integration. The amount of attachments, not to get too far off topic, but we know that Warzone's upcoming experience will utilize the engine and tech of Vanguard, the upgraded version of the current Modern Warfare and Warzone engine we see now. So while that means the ability to do some things like a bit of destruction and the likes, I also wonder if that means that we'll end up getting 10 attachments moving forward, something we haven't seen given that all blueprints aren't never sold or never unlocked with more than 5 attachments. But again, we'll come back to that in a second. But anyways, that blueprint itself gives us a little bit of a reward to work towards and actually kind of shapes the mold for what we can see in regards to customization and camos as a whole, which is where I want to turn the discussion to the future, because this isn't the only reference point that we have for cosmetics and what we can kind of expect for the year ahead in terms of camos, at least initially. And that's one thing to keep in mind. What we see here is actually likely to change. Creative freedoms are expanded upon after a few months into the game's life cycle, and even the last Sledge project was a great example of that. That game was built around the idea and principle of realism. Then we had zombies in multiplayer and cool camos later down the line, so it's all of course subject to change. But anyways, the other sort of baselines we have come out of the initial marketing for the versions of Call of Duty Vanguard that you can end up purchasing. You of course have your standard editions, your cross-gen bundles, and your ultimate edition. However, with the ultimate edition and with any pre-order digitally, you can end up getting access to the Task Force 1 pack and Frontlines weapon pack respectively. Now with that Frontlines pack first, since that's the more readily available of the two, it comes with any digital pre-order. That comes with 2 SMG blueprints, the Shredder and the Wildwood. The Shredder is described as configured with 7 attachments that turn this workhorse into a bigger threat for mid-range engagements. This includes a magazine attachment that increases the caliber of bullets for better damage at range, and a long barrel that improves accuracy, and some stability when maneuvering more slowly. Complete with some additional parts for tempering increased recoil, it allows this weapon to compete with some of the assault rifles at these prolonged distances. And the Wildwood described as configured with 8 attachments, one of of which is a barrel that changes the weapon from a fully auto close quarters tool to a burst fire weapon. Combined with a magazine attachment chambered in high caliber ammunition, this variation on the highly mobile submachine gun via the weapon blueprint makes it a unique addition to your loadouts on day one. So long as your aim is true, this weapon can be used to aim around corners and down targets with a single burst. Visibly in art direction, it's leaning more so towards the realism side, being less flashy as maybe the things we've become accustomed to now, but also still being that bit of cosmetics for us on day one, but not entirely dismissing the idea of more complex cosmetics down the line. And we'll get to that in a second, but before we move on, let's consider these builds. They state 7 and 8 attachments standard. Naturally, that seems to fit the 10 attachments of Vanguard, but that also could be something of an attack on the Warzone side of things with the Warzone integration blueprints head on. Maybe pointing to that becoming the standard within Warzone a little bit later on. Let's talk about this Task Force 1 pack, the other addition here at this, the more flashy of the camos and cosmetics. If you decide to drop $100 on the game and get the Ultimate Edition of Vanguard, you're granted a lot of things as extras, truthfully. You get the base game, you get instant access to the Night Raid Mastercraft for the PPSH in Cold War and Warzone, you get, of course, beta access already going on, you get the Battle Pass bundle, which includes access to a Battle Pass plus 20 tier skips for free for 1 season, you get 5 hours of double XP and 5 hours of double weapon XP as well, that Frontlines weapon pack, and then finally, the Task Force 1 pack. That coming along with 3 operator skins and 3 blueprints, but naturally, we're more focused on the blueprints. The contents of those blueprints focus around the STG-44, the 3-line sniper, and what looks like the Type 100. Now, these are a bit more vibrant than what we've seen with the Rat-a-tat and the Frontlines weapons pack, but not so much in regards to the initial base camo. It's not anything that's over the top here. These camos, they're a bit more defined and not necessarily like battle-torn or worn down, but a bit clearer on those camos, but still rooted in believable construct. The only thing that I think that really differentiates these from the rest and makes them more standout in terms of what you may be interested with is that there's tracer rounds that come equipped by default for these. Those are something we haven't seen on the Rat-a-tat or the Frontline weapons pack, but also confirming that we'll see more with these tracer rounds as time goes on and more cosmetics get released. So kind of again setting the stage for what is coming still and what we can expect. But if you're also wondering, these will come with 8, 7, and 8 attachments respectively for their blueprints. So again, maybe playing into the new Warzone experience as well, but that's what we know of in regards to Vanguard. So where do I see this personally going? Because we have believable camos here at this, nothing over the top just yet. We do have tracer rounds, which then leads to other cosmetics that may come out of this. So what's the mold this is setting it up for? Well, I think at least early on here, we'll start to see things that are more believable, but more so defined again, sort of how the heroic system went, where it's a clean-cut camo on a weapon, if we're comparing it to, say, World War II's camos. But with the recent installments that we've seen within Modern Warfare and Black Ops Cold War and integrated into Warzone, I expect that to also then still progressively roll out, where at the very beginning, you have your base stuff. It's not something that's too crazy, but then we start to see more tracer round weapons introduced. We maybe see some animated camos, some mastercrafts perhaps even, and reactive camos come later at a certain point. While I totally get the idea of the realism in it being World War II, let's be honest with you, man. The profitability of those blueprints and camos that we've seen that can be labeled as flashy, there's no shot they don't give those up. So for that reason, I think that we will progressively get into the zanier realm of things. I don't know if I'd necessarily expect anime camos on our World War II weapons. That would seem a little bit out of place, but I absolutely could see them doing what they did with the Proto X1 variant of the antimatter that had these sort of dark matter build and attributes to it where it is animated even just slightly. But then if they decide to go to the full-blown reactive and mastercraft properties, well, that's up for anybody's guess. But when it comes down to it, it seems like right now the camos will be more so rooted in realism for the start, but have some properties, again, like those tracer rounds that we saw, that do deviate a little bit, that makes it a little bit more cosmetically friendly to those that want some cool looking camos and things like that. Where it goes in the future, I'd imagine we follow a similar pattern to COD World War II or like Modern Warfare, where there were some more creative things, but not necessarily right out of the gate. So that's where I'm at here at this. What do you guys think? What do you think will happen here at the camos within Call of Duty Vanguard? Do you hope it goes one way or the other? Do you want to see the return of reactives, master of crafts and all that kind of stuff, let me know down below. As well, before we wrap everything up, a big thank you to these legends on screen who've used creator code ESPRESSO in the in-game support a creator function of the store. It's entirely optional, but if you ever decide to pick anything up that you find interesting, whether a blueprint, operator, whatever the case may be, and you'd like to help support the channel a little further, a small bit of that does go directly to helping support the channel. Of course, it's entirely optional, so do not ever feel pressure to do so, but if you ever pick something up, tweet me a picture. I'd love to shout out some of your generous support in upcoming videos. That said, if you guys also are new to the channel and want to stay up to date with all things Warzone, Vanguard, and anything COD related, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected outside of YouTube. Probably live on both those. If you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever the case may be, that link is down there in the description below. That said, thanks so much for watching. My name has been ESPRESSO. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.